okay, it's created for a particular goal. Like, okay, you're trying to like build an app that serves an e-commerce, build an app that calculates a time, build an app that has a Pomodoro, or build an app that just like collates people's data and give you something. So web apps are more smaller, or they can be smaller or bigger depending on what exactly you're trying to do. So that's like the generality of front end. But the deeper you go, the more you tend to see that it's more than just the building of website that you see of website. That's what front end is. It goes a bit more deeper of like, okay, yes, your logic, how does your logic optimize this application, how fast or how slow is it running, things like that. Also dealing front end as well. Backend is more of the one that just deals with the server. Now that backend, sometimes some people tend to combine backend and database together, but it can just be a backend only. It can just be the server only are writing that, just the logic that the application will use. That is how the front end, or how it may not even be a front end, how it may be a app, it may be a mobile app, it may be a embedded app, it may be an app on a IoT, basically any hardware device, how they interact with a particular server to get them data that they need, or to automate something for them, or like to process some logic. That's what backend basically involves. Like all the automation, all the things that do not need to run on the web parts of the internet or the browser. Basically, what doesn't need to run on the browser is what they call backend, because it is hosted on a particular server somewhere that now does all your logic or the computation that you want to perform for you. That's basically what backend is. So it's usually more hardware and more logic dependent, and requires a bit more engagement than front end. That's why you tend to see more front end than back end individuals. Although you could also say front end because of how diverse it is. That's why there's so many people involved, but it's usually the scale of front end tends to go a bit higher than back end because you are focused on too many things in front end. So those are like the two. Now, if you come to cloud engineering is basically everything that has to do with the cloud or servers that are somewhere online. Basically, the cloud is really just a computer like yours, or if you're using a computer to view this meeting, that is somewhere that is always online. That's basically what the cloud is, because the cloud is really not, it's not an actual cloud that you're looking at. It's just computers that are hosted, that are put somewhere that must be online, because what they are doing is they are creating a space that you can put something in and you can access it at any given time. The moment that computer goes down, you will hear things like, yes, our server is down. We have no network to this thing. So they must always be online. That's why it's called cloud, because you can access it anywhere and if you use to access it at any time as well too. So cloud engineering just involves like how to make those things available, like making your servers work for maybe 1,000 users, 2,000 users, 1,000,000 users. How do you scale that kind of request? How do you make sure that when this site goes down, when the server goes down, another one is ready to take up its place? Things like that are what entails cloud engineering. Like basically all your hosting platforms, or like Google host, all of them, they're all dabbling in cloud engineering, because either directly or indirectly, because some of them take their services from the bigger ones like your AWS, your Google Cloud, your Huawei Cloud, what other ones do I know aware of? There are some are aware of as well. And then some don't do that. Some just host their own computer. Like you can even make your own system a cloud server, basically, if you want, by either making it available to internet and exposing your IP address for everybody to like connect to. Those are kind of the ways that you can enjoy in cloud engineering. So it is more hardware and more resource dependent. That's why a lot of people are not in cloud, because the skill gap at the beginning is a bit higher. And also you usually need experience on the job, like on the job experience, or like some experience in a particular field of cloud engineering. Like what servers are you working with? I work with AWS or GCP or Azure, Microsoft Azure. That's the other one. So it's usually tied to a particular kind of server, and then there's the general knowledge that you're supposed to know of. That's what it comes to cloud engineering. So for cybersecurity is similar to cloud, but rather than managing the servers, you are managing the security, or the security, and the uh how vulnerable those servers or the application that are running on those servers are. So basically, like how does somebody access, does the right person have access to this server or to this website? Are people trying to inject malware? Are people trying to inject virus? Are people trying to steal data from this site without being access to it? So those are the kind of things that goes on in cybersecurity. Like, okay, yes, so for that, you're expected to I don't know. I mean, is that being recorded? I'm not. Yeah, I think it's being
Yeah,
recorded.
yeah,
It's being
yeah.
recorded. So
Okay.
for cybersecurity, for that you are expected to like know, okay, what kind of attack is going on. That's why you have things like your penetration testers, you have your social engineering, like one class, you have your how do you call it, vulnerability testers as well too. You have your basic just what's it? I think there's a basic one that is just cybersecurity, like beginner practitioner. So there are various levels of cybersecurity where you're like expected to know, yes, what kind of attack is going on? How do I prevent it? Is it penetration testing? Is it the SQL injection testing? Is it a social engineering test? Is it a phishing attack? Is it just a basic man in the middle attack? Like so there are various ways that people can attack a site or a server or an application. So you need to like, okay, yes, make sure that you run all the tests on that site. Usually they'll tell you, okay, yes, this is our site. We want you to help us go through all the tests that people can use to like hack it. Because the way cybersecurity works is there are two sides of the coin. There are those trying to protect people from stealing the data, and there are those trying to steal the data. So they are both on the coin, but two different sides of the cybersecurity, where the same people that know what it takes to protect it are the same people that are attacking it. So you're expected to know what the other person is trying to do to prevent what they are trying to do, basically. That's why cybersecurity doesn't really follow the norms of most software development, because of it involves a lot of human thinking as well. Like social engineering is basically just human thinking. Like, how do you get somebody to reveal the data to you without just knowing that they are trying to reveal it? That's what social engineering is. Phishing attack are just you send someone an email and they're like, okay, it's this email. You don't know that there's some URL that's attached to it, that when you click on that link, it funnels your login details or it does something to your system. So things like that, they don't really involve programming like that, but they're also software development because it's detailing to the software that is being used per se. So now for the last two, which I left because they are a bit more, in the recent times they become the most popular, or like the authors in demand, which is data analysis and machine learning. So data analysis involves the data itself. Like for front end, for back end, for cloud, cybersecurity, you're either dealing with the application or dealing with how the application works on the server. Data analysis deals with the data itself. That is, how does that data work? How does that data perform? How is that data stored? That was data analysis. Yes, that what data analysis is. So usually data analysis is, you can also call it data science, which is where you have things like your cleaning of the data, formatting of the data, using the data itself, transform the data to fill a particular pattern, things like your recommendation systems, your some of your modeling, your graphs that you use in some you see some banks use some particular graphs or some particular charts or some particular predictions. Those are what data analysis is. So it's a very broad field. I didn't really enter that field because of it requires a lot of like mathematics and a lot of just, it can be boring at first. Let me put it that way. It can be really boring at first because it's a lot of data. You're just dealing with data. There's no coding that much at the beginning. There's some coding later on when you have to deal with data to like, okay, transform that data to a particular something that you want, a particular suit that you want. Okay, maybe you're trying to build a recommendation system for a e-commerce or for a bank or for a loan prediction. So those are the kind of things that can go on data analysis, while ML is more specified. So ML is like, it's a superset. How would I say superset, or like a more specialized field of data analysis, because you're also dealing with data there, but at this point you are training that data to work in a particular manner. So either you're saying that, okay, yes, I have the data, I want it to be able to predict like what will happen if I feed it a new set of data. Maybe you're trying to build a face recognition system and you feed it some data. So you are building a model that is going to like predict faces based on what they see, maybe happy faces, smiling faces, or just like you have a webcam and you want to predict kind of people that are passing through your gate every morning. So you can build a model to like go through that and show you that, okay, this is a particular age that are coming in, this is the particular gender. So things like that are basically what we call machine learning, where the data itself has now been prepared, has been formatted, has been trained to work against a particular set of parameters. So that's how it is for machine learning. So I hope I've not like bombarded everybody with too much information, but all of this you will not really do it that much in, you won't really do that much at your level right now because you're just starting. The major thing to know is just, okay, yes, what exactly do you want to do and what are you capable of doing? That's the thing there, because what you want to do, what you're capable of doing may be different. You may want to do ML, but you're not capable of doing it. So in that case, what will you do? You go for something like data science at first, and then later on, when you're able to gather more, you're able to like become stronger in what's the data analysis, you can pivot to machine learning. All of these fields, you can always start one and switch to the other. Like I said, I dabbled in like 4 of these before I ended up going to front end. So nothing is set in stone. You can start up as a front end and later on switch to cybersecurity. You are not entitled, you're not forced to just pick one and stick to one forever. I have friends that moved from backend to mobile development. They just switched because they either the market was not working out for them or they decided to have a change of career path. So you are not forced to just stick to one. Maybe because of the resources you have, you're unable to afford something that can take you for cloud engineering, or you didn't get the resources you need for cybersecurity, which is another thing. Like the resources for this are quite different. Some of them you can get them online for free, like your Udemy, your Udacity. Udacity is like a paid version. So the degree of what you can get online for these career paths are very different. Some are more expensive than the other based on how relevant they are in the market now. Like I said, right now, machine learning and data analysis are like the most popular because a lot of people are going into AI. So that already makes it very, very popular for those two fields. So a lot of people are looking for that. But because of the skill curve in that field, the skill curve is much higher. So if you are not sure that you'll be able to like emerge successful in that field, you can pick something that will give you at least fundamentals in software development and then pivot to that field later. It's never too late to switch career paths. It's never too late at 20, 30, 40. You can switch career path at any time you want. It's just a matter of you knowing that, yes, I am in this, because software development is not an easy field. Even front-end development that a lot of people go into, my previous one that I trained that I did, we did HTML, we did CSS. It looked easy and fine. Everybody was enjoying. By the time we go to JavaScript, I involved the actual programming. A lot of people had issues because at that point you're not dealing with the actual logic, like arithmetics, computations, your flows of execution. That's where that comes in. So it's never an easy part. It's something that you have to be willing to either do or not do. It's not going to be easy at first. Later on, it can become easy, or you've gotten used to it. But at first, it may not be easy for everybody. And for some, it may be easy. It may just be like something that you are meant to do. So nobody's the same thing. It may be easy for someone, it may not be easy for someone, but usually it's a bit stressful at the beginning, at the very least, because of how much time it takes for the learning, the working, and making sure that what you're doing is right and being able to prove what you're actually doing. Those are like various parts of it. So I would have loved to show some part of the work, but I think that would just make it a bit more too much complicated trying to show a code, unless anybody actually wants to see
I
that.
don't mind.
All right, I could do that. So let me just share my screen. All right. Can everybody see my? No, not yet. Can everyone see my screen now? Can anybody
Yeah.
see? Okay, so this is the basics. So this is like an ID or a text editor that I use for my code. These are like various parts of my code. So like I was saying about HTML, this is more advanced. This is Vue. It's a framework that uses HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to work. So it's something like what you might call it, like a login page. This is the code for a login page. Now this is the code for a login page. This is what you see as a login page. So this is like a basic page. This is an application that was being built to like manage notes. But this is like a login page for you. So something like this that I'm building, I'm having to worry about things like how do people connect to the API, how do people log in. So those are other parts of front end that I have to deal with. How does my application work on mobile?
Sorry,
How
Victor.
big is it? Is it slow? Is it fast? Yes.
Hi. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
just to take us step by step. So this is your
Okay.
editor, right?
Oh, okay, okay. Let me break a bit slower. Okay, this is my text editor. It's
Yeah.
called Webstorm. There are easier ones. It's a paid editor. It's a paid editor, so it's not, you don't get it. You get it free if you are a student, because I think GitHub the student pack or GitHub development pack gives you 1 year license as long as you use your student account to register on their platform. That can give you a booster. Let me see if I remember what it is
Okay.
called.
So I just
GitHub.
want to give a bit of context into um how much of a bit of
Out.
explaining you need to do for us. So when you say text editor, so many of us are hearing it for the first time. You just If you
Oh,
say
okay,
something,
okay,
just quickly give
okay.
us what it
All right,
does, what it
okay.
means, and all of that. Thank you.
All right. So when I say text editor in in software development or in programming, you have basically a code that you're writing to perform something because you are trying to speak to the machine. And what the machine understands is machine language, which nobody speaks, or very few people understand what is machine language. So after that, you now have assembly language, which is something that is converted to machine language. After assembly language, you now have the different languages that you have, like your C, your Java, your JavaScript. All of those are what are converted. So when we are coding or when we are writing our code, we are writing in one of those languages that will be converted to what the machine can understand. The it is hardware or software engineering you are doing. So when I say text editor, it could even be a notepad. Text editor is basically just where you write your code that will help you like store that code. Text editor is similar to your word editors like your Microsoft Word, your PowerPoint, and the rest. But the thing with Microsoft Word is converted back to XLSS, not your .view, .cpp, .py, .java. The extension is what determines the kind of language you're writing usually, or the kind of framework you're writing usually. So when I say text editor, I mean what I'm using to edit my code to make it work. Right, I could open this in Microsoft Word, but I won't get things like my formatting, my color that you're seeing to show the different kinds of code I'm writing and the layout I'm getting, and things like my errors that I'm writing my code. So that's what text editors give you. They give you that availability to write your code in a developer environment, basically. Because if I'm writing Microsoft, I won't come here and be writing Microsoft Word documents because that will not make sense. I won't get things like my bold, my font sizes, my indentations, my text center, all of those things that you get from Microsoft Word. I won't do that here. So text editors or code editors are basically just where you come and you write your code. Oh, is that clear now? Or do I need to go a bit different?
Yes, yes, you can go on.
All right. So, like I was now saying, the code that I write is what I'm writing code to do a particular thing. For front end, I'm writing code to build a page or to perform some data, to render some data, or to like use some data to do something else, or to connect to an API. So in this code that I see here, I'm doing various things. I'm creating a UI, I'm creating a login screen. I'm also connecting to an API. I'm also storing data I get from that API, and I'm logging the user to the dashboard once they're able to log in. So I'm creating a form that I'll use to get the person's email, send that to the database, to the server to verify that that user actually exists, get the data back, and then store the data and then log in the user if it is true. So those are some of the things I'm doing in this simple or this not simple, this small code that I'm doing here, basically. So that is basically it. There are more complex ones that do a lot more stuff. Someone say something? Someone trying to talk?
Yeah, someone dropped a question. What is an API?
Okay. I guess you can start asking questions as it comes forward now. So an API basically is application programming interfaces. So what they are basically a series, the same way how I said backend works on a server and processes logic. So what API does is API gives you URLs that you can use to access that particular set of logic. Maybe you want to log in and someone give you a use this url.com/login. That URL is taking you to an API where you can log in. So what that API is itself is the code that was written on the backend to do that logging in. That's why it's called application programming service. It does something it's a part of the application that is exposed to somebody to use that does something. I'm sure a backend person will explain it better than I'm explaining it, but to a front end person, that's basically what it is. So you can have APIs that do different things, or you can write APIs to do different things. The major thing is that it must be accessible. That's why it's called an API. If not, it's just working on its own. So the moment it's accessible is when it now becomes an API because somebody can use it for something, somebody can do something to it. Let me just bring this out here. Somebody is up. Okay, somebody is up behind.
Yes, yes, it's me. I just wanted to give an example of like a real life example of an API. So when you go to canva.com, right, and you want to sign in with your Gmail, right, and you are able to see your Gmail account, right, on the back end, what the Canva developer has done is to get that Gmail API, which am I right, so that you are able to log in with your own Gmail into Canva.
Yes, what they basically do there is Google have their own API that they release. That's why you can log in with Google. If not, you log in with
Yeah,
Yahoo, or you log in with Twitter, or you log in with Facebook. So each of those ones
exactly.
to have their own API. So what the backend is in there is that is pulling, is giving you his own API to use, which is his own URL. Maybe it's canva.com/API/login. He will now call Google's API to check that, okay, yes, this person that gave me this Google email, are they in your application? Are they stored on your server? And the only way to do that is using those APIs. Without that, you can't like you have to go to the Google itself and ask them. But that API has given him the accessibility to say, okay, yes, I'm trying to connect to Google's service or Google servers to now use their own data. So API allow you to like communicate across different servers or machines like that. That's what APIs are trying to do. Any other question? Okay. Like I was saying earlier before I dropped off, like if you are gonna be enjoying, you can use this GitHub, what's it called? GitHub Student Developer Pack. So you just sign in with you register with your student account when you get to like uni or HND or the rest. I don't know if they accept all. I know they accept a couple of universities in Nigeria. I don't know if all. So they'll give you a couple of access. They give you a couple of like tools that you need to like start development, like a free GitHub Pro account, some IDs to work with, some hosting platforms to work with, some Microsoft services to use. To give you all of that. I'm trying to find out what it entails, but I cannot see everything that is inside. So basically that will help you like in a lot of ways to kickstart or give you a lot of tools that you need to actually start in software development. Because I believe that they tend to give you they can give you a bit of every part. Like this is for database, this is for data analysis, this is for data. This is where you can save your data. This is like this is the one of the IDs I'm using. This is like Microsoft tools for both the cybersecurity, cloud engineering, and data analysis. So they tend to offer you at least for either 1 year or while you're a student. I can't remember how it still works for that. But that's like one of the ways you can get like some of the tools you can use to actually start in software development, basically. I think am I not over time like this? Or do I still need
Yeah,
to
you
go?
have 3 minutes.
All right. Any other questions? Or if not, I could just drop it back to them. Or is there any part I need to go over?
Maybe you can touch on other resources, where to get started,
Okay. So
data camps.
other
Or
resources are like your free code camp. They actually give you a lot as well too. So either you go on their sites or you go on their YouTube channel, because their YouTube channel tends to give you a lot of like they actually give you a lot of what you might call it training materials as well to both the text one and the ones that you can watch. Maybe you want to watch a video on, they have like very long courses on free courses on like cybersecurity, cloud engineering, even things that are outside of software development. They have that there as well too. So it's a very when it first started, it was pretty much not as big as this, but now they've ballooned into a very like capable and big platform to actually learn on. So they have parts, they have curriculums, they have parts that you can take like web design, front end, data visualization, database, backend, quality assurance, even your ML, your information security. So they give you various parts that you can use, and it's from beginning to end. It's like it's a progress, beginner, intermediate, advanced. So you don't just jump into the hard part directly. Like this one that involves ML with Python certification. They will definitely have to teach you Python before they jump into the ML part of things. and their certification is becoming quite recognizable. At least when they first started, it wasn't recognizable, so most people just did the course but didn't finish the test, because it does come with a series of tests. Like after every phase you pass, you do tests for it. You do so you can see this is like various things you will learn slowly. So each one always has a project, so that way you are learning and you're building something at the same time you are doing it. So it's not just that you're learning and you're not building anything, and you can always like see what you've done, what you've not done, and where you're going to. And their YouTube channel as well too also has a lot of videos in case you are not a visual or a text person like that. You just want to watch something. They also have videos like that that you can actually use. For paid ones, you can go to Udemy. Udemy gives a lot of like courses that you can like learn, or you can buy. They usually they have like days when they do promos where you can buy some courses for like very cheap prices like they have here. So usually you could wait for those days to come by instead of buying it at the full price, buy it at a very cheap discount. You can either buy it from Udemy, or alternatively, I think is it Coursera? I'm not sure. I think it's Coursera or Pluralsight that we have, but Udemy is like the main one that everybody just falls to, and then if they can't find what they want there, they go to some other ones. So these are like some of the places where you can find resources on like various software development parts that you want. Maybe what you are getting from school is not enough, or you just want to like further your understanding while you still have time. So these are some of the places you can get resources to help you on whatever you're trying to learn. Yep, that is it.
All right. Thank you so much, Victory. Um, I know a lot has been said, right? But this is always good to have this basic knowledge of what it actually entails to get started, right? So with these resources, I've added some links to the chat for free code camp. I'll add Udemy also, so that you can go and do some research and just get started. If it's front end, you want Victory, I need to ask, on free code camp, is it broken down into languages or like roles?
Roles and languages. So they tend to use some particular languages for some roles. There are other ones you can use. Like when it comes to front end, there are 1,001 ways to build front end, but they will just pick like one or two that they are using for that role. So you can now either choose that language or that framework, or like research other languages that can do what they are trying to do with the projects that they give you. That's how it is. So like front end, you learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript at first before you now move into like your React, your Vue, your Angular, and your other types of frameworks that you want to use, or your Python. For backend, you start with like your either your Node.js or your Python before you move to things like your Django, your Flask. So those are the so they classify by roles, but even in those roles, you need a particular language to actually perform what you're trying to do in that role. That's at least for front end and back end. For cloud engineering, it's more of like scripts. Your Terraform, your Helm charts, your Bash itself. So cloud engineering is a bit more different. Cybersecurity is majorly just Python and your servers, while um data analysis and ML are usually Pythons. You may be doing R if you're doing Microsoft, but usually it's Python that you're using for that. So they will use those languages in the courses that they're taking.
Great, great. I know this is a lot for someone that is just hearing this for the first time. Um, I just want to clarify again. On free code camp, for example, now the languages for front end, is it grouped together so you're learning this, or do you have to do your own research to know the languages you need to learn for front end?
No, they'll do it. That's why it's called a curriculum. They start you from the basics itself. They start you from the beginning. The beginning of front end is HTML. Without that, you are just either building the animation for somebody or a script for somebody. So they take you from the beginning, from the ground up, all the way to when you're at least able to stand on your own feet. So they don't just throw you up into it. They don't just start anywhere. They start from the beginning and take it. The same way a curriculum start from what is A to what is AB to what is a word to what is a phrase. That's how it goes. So they start from the beginning and then build their way up front.
Great, great, amazing. Thank you so much. I don't know if we have any questions. If you have any question, please raise your hand. If not, we'll move on to um, the next speaker. All right. Thank you, Victory, so much for your time. I know you have somewhere else to
You're
be.
welcome.
Thank you so much. Please, can we all say a thumbs up to Victory? Um, thank you, Victory.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you
So many
for having
thumbs
me
up.
here. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. All right. Bye. So now we will be calling on our next speaker. Will be taking us through soft skills. Um, I know we've just touched on some hard skills now, which is on software development, but every software developer will tell you soft skills is also important, right? For any role you're taking on going forward into the future, you will always need soft skills that will help you. Without soft skills, your career may likely suffer. So we need these soft skills, and we'll have Mr. Chi taking us on that shortly. Mr. Chi, welcome. Or should I say president?
Okay. No, Chidozie is fine. Chidozie Ferdinand is fine.
Mm.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Remy, for that introduction. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chidozie Ferdinand, as Remy rightly said, and I'll be taking you on the soft skill session for soft skill, right? For this session, right? We've done a whole lot of learning. I mean, we've gone through a whole lot of process. I made to understand that most of us here are software developers, right? And so that is our hard skill. That is our proficiency. It is what we can do. Now, today, what we'll be looking at is how we can relate with people concerning our hard skill, or basically how to make sure that we do not just put all our minds on the hard skill and then we're not growing in our different fields, right? And basically I'm going to start by asking, does anybody know any idea of what a soft skill is? Does anybody have any idea of what a soft skill is? You could use the chat box, just one or two um examples or definitions of what a soft skill is. Okay. Is anybody at all, anyone that wants to try? Or you could just raise up would call you up. Okay, so whilst if there's okay, so Basira Musa, yeah, you unmute your mic and just quickly give us your own definition of what a soft skill is.
Okay. Soft skills are skills that we need to relate to people effectively, like communication, listening, and all of that.
Wow, thank you so much. That's so correct. That is true. Does anybody have any other idea of what a soft skill is? Okay, so I'll just go right into it, right? A soft skill or soft skills are basically personal attributes and interpersonal skills that help us interact effectively with others, right? We have our hard skills, as I said. We have our different proficiencies, things that we know we are good at. When I say hard skills, you say you're a lawyer, you're or into the tech world, you're a software developer, you're a back end, you're a front end, or as the speaker just made us understand, you're a full stack developer, probably a digital marketer, you are into product design, right? These are hard skills, things that you know the whole intricacies, the whole happenings with that industry. Those are hard skills. Now, soft skills, on the other hand, are personal attributes that, as I said, they help us interact effectively with others. As much as we are dealing with AI, as much as we're dealing with robots in the time to come, right? one thing we cannot remove is the people factor, right? If you remember when we did economics, the four factors of production, you have the labor, you have land, labor, capital, and the entrepreneur. Funny thing is, the people comes, or a person comes twice in that, as labor and the entrepreneur, who manages and who does the actual work, right? And that should tell us that people skills or people are very essential, and hence why we need to improve on our people skills. And so that is why soft skills, we can, as I said, we can think of soft skills as people skills that will enable us build relationships, communicate effectively, and navigate social situations, right? And there are a whole lot of soft skills. There are a whole lot of soft skills. Communication is an example of soft skill, teamwork, problem solving, time management, adaptability, leadership, empathy. These are all examples of soft skills and very essential soft skills, right? Very important soft skills. But today we'll be looking at four essential soft skills, and that will be communication, problem solving, proactivity, time management, and adaptability. Now, as I said, we have a whole lot of soft skills, but with these four, if you can intentionally capitalize and build on growing yourself, improving yourself in these four, you are good to go. You could learn the other ones with time, right? Or they are all encompassing. That is, every other soft skill can, one way or the other, be broken into this, or they have characteristics of these four essential soft skills that I have mentioned, right? So we'll be going straight to it, and the first soft skill we'll be looking at is communication. Communication, and this is something I love doing. Once again, I'm going to ask: does anybody on that? I know by now this one we should all know what communication is. We communicate every day. What I'm doing now is communication. What we've been doing since morning is communication. When you wake up, you communicate, right? But does anybody have any definitive meaning or an idea, a word, I mean, a sentence, what you think communication is? You can use the chat box, you can raise up your hand. Just 2 minutes. Let's understand what's communication. I want us to know that we understand what communication is fully. Is there anyone? Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so Nyada Favor said conveying an information. Okay, that is correct. That is good. Communication, yeah, conveying an information. Yeah, that's correct in a way. Okay, Nya Umo, you raised your hand. Unmute your mic and just give us your definition of what communication is.
But to me, I think communication has to do with the way we like interact, or maybe should I say, a way of trying to get to one another.
Interaction, the way we try to get to one another. Nyada Favor said conveying an information. All these two definitions, or these two definitions are both right in their own way, but not full in their definition. Now, I'll give a dictionary definition of communication, right? And I'll just start by saying communication is the process of sharing information, ideas, thoughts, and feelings between two or more individuals, right? It involves encoding a message by the sender, transmitting it through a channel, and decoding it by the receiver. Big words. Basically, right? Communication is, there are very essential things that must be available for you to say an activity or communication has effectively been carried out. One thing, it must be between two or more people, and it involves one person formulating a message, another receiving it. And as is with time, and it's essential, there is always a feedback. I love to say communication is not complete until, number one, the target audience or those that they are talking to understand what is being communicated to them, and then there is a feedback. The feedback may not be vocal, it may not be written, but there is this understanding. After the time, people get to understand what was communicated, right? If there is no feedback, if there is no understanding, then you can't say communication has happened, right? And there are key components to communication. As I said, there's the sender, the message, which is being conveyed, the channel. There are different channel, maybe it's non-verbal or verbal, non-verbal, verbal or written, with the different mediums we use, right? These days we have so many mediums of communication. Then there's the receiver and the feedback. So these 5 components are essential for anybody to say, okay, this is communication has happened, but it has not just happened, it is effective, right? These are 5 components that must be available. The sender, there will be a message, a channel through which this message is conveyed, the receiver, and the feedback. Effective communication requires clear expression, active listening, and mutual understanding. It's a two-way process that involves both sending and receiving information. As I said, you can't just say communication is effective if it's not two-way. If one person is not receiving, you're just making an announcement, right? You're not communicating. Making an announcement is one part of communication. Now, the feedback, or when there's an activity that arises up from that communication, you can now say it has been effective because there is something is happening after it, right? That is basically what you can say is effective communication. Are we together on this? If you're following up, you just use your favorite emoji, sign or something, right, to show your sign if you're following up. So true, right? You can also keep your questions. I know it's quite early on, but keep your questions. You can write them down with time coming. Though I doubt we'll have much questions. Right now, I'll go straight into effective practical ways in which we communicate. As I said, we know our hard skills, but the main goal is we become active economic agents, right? And we are going into the world. We're going to start working with people. Now, these are different modes where we communicate with people, right? In meetings, right? You can put these points down. It is to help us in these different forms of communicating. As I said, in the organization, in whatever form of organization we're working in, as soft skills are essential, communication is a big part of the soft skills that we need to know. One thing that is meetings, just like this one we're having. Now, one point you need to put down is you need to actively listen to understand, not just to respond. Most people, we say we are listening, but we don't really understand what we are listening. We just want to pick out what that person is saying, or picking out what we're listening to respond to that person, not to understand the message that is being conveyed. So in meetings, it is very essential that there's something we used to do, they used to say in school that time, you read in between the lines. There are some questions, exam questions, that you read in between the lines, right? In your real world, while you're communicating with people, it's not just the words that are used. For you to understand that, you must put in the context that word is used, and there are so many other things that follow up, right? So it's not just the word, or you don't just listen to respond, but to understand. Another point is provide constructive feedback, focusing on the issue rather than the person. Well, when you're communicating in meetings and you're asked for your feedback, right? When you're with your organization, you're dealing with people, you're a team lead, your feedback should be constructive. And when I say constructive, it should be tailored in a sense that it aligns to what is being communicated, to the topic of discourse at that moment, right? You should focus on the issue and not on the person. Now, some of us may, when we're communicating maybe with people, in our dealings with people, maybe from school, some of us that are fresh from secondary school, or some of us that are into our, part-time OND and all that. When you're communicating with people, you would agree with me that to a far extent, the way you deal or the way you view that person affects your communication skill, right? The way you view that person would want to affect that way. Maybe you feel you're not really happy with this person, and then it disrupts your communication style or flow. That is not what is needed, especially when it comes to the professional world. You must be able to give a constructive feedback regardless of your personal issues with that person, right? So you focus on the issue, that is the matter that is discussed, and not the person. Finally, summarize key points to ensure that everyone is on the same page, right? So just like what I've done here, puts all this into points that we can take down. You summarize key points of whatever you're communicating so that in meetings, right? So that everyone can be on the same page, right? Another form of communication that is very essential and we'll be using in organizations is emails. Now, points on this is number one, craft clear and concise subject lines. I would have loved to share maybe an image. How many of us here, just by show of hand, how many of us here don't know or haven't sent out an email before? Is there anyone here that hasn't sent out an email? You've not used the Gmail or the Yahoo Mail before? Is there anyone here that has not done that? Just show by your raise of hands. Wow. Wow. Okay. So how many people have sent out emails here? 2 people. Wow. Well, how many people have, okay, how many people have sent out emails? You've actually sent out an email before, right? Now, if you go back to if you check your email, there's something that is very important there, and we tend to miss it, except you've worked in or you have quite a view or understanding of how these things work. The subject matter. The truth is, we're in a very fast-paced world, and the attention span is reducing. Now, if you look at emails that are sent to you, I'm trying to see if I can. Okay, if you look at emails that are sent to you, or when you want to compose a new email.
You can share your screen if you want to.
Yeah, it's what I am
I
thinking.
mean,
Okay, let me just share my screen so it gives us a full understanding. Okay. Okay, so using my phone as the device for this session. So okay, so basically let's just go straight to composing an email, right? Sorry. So basically, can you guys see, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see it. Yeah, well,
yes, you can.
Okay, so the first thing here you can see is the person that is sending this email, myself. You can see my email there. The person you're sending this email to. For example, I say this person, I put the email there, right? And the next thing is subject. Now, this is where we are, the subject. So, for example, you want to send an application letter, right? Most of us will be doing our whole CVs and applications, and you see a vacancy or an ad for an opening in an organization, and you want to send your application letter. Now, whilst they'll tell you send your CV, one very important thing is, you see this subject here, you should actually label, it's just like labeling what that message, that email you are sending is about. Because a whole lot of emails are entering into our boxes, like the email box or the organization's email box every minute, every second, especially when you're dealing with big organizations, right? Or even little organizations, 5, 4 SMEs, whatever the size, a whole lot of messages are entering. What would now distinguish you or show the person the level of importance is that subject. The person may not be ready to read through. Now look at the emails here, right? These things that are showing in highlighted for advert are what the subjects that have formed it. Now I've not clicked into the email to see what it is, but this can give me an example. It gives me an intuition. Okay, this is what I'm expecting, right? And it catches the attention of the receiver, right? It catches the attention of the receiver. So emails are your subject lines in your emails are very, very important. They should be clear, they should be concise. You should just be straight to the point. As I said, for application, you can one very good thing you could put is the topic application for the particular post which you are filling in for, right? Another point you should put into is structure your email logically using paragraphs for different points. We all did letter writing to an extent in schools, right? We all understand, I believe most of us understand letter writing, or even normal messages. And when you're writing, it is important that for each, when you're sending out an email, you introduce in, for every new idea or new topic you're introducing, you use a fresh paragraph, right? Paragraphing, spacing. The main thing in communication is that, as I said, the receiver must be able to understand what you are sending. Now, if you are sending a message, you are speaking, you're talking, and the receiver does not understand that thing, then communication has not happened. Right? So one thing that you should put on the forefront of whenever your communication, whatever you're communicating, whatever means you're using to communicate is this person I'm sending this thing to, is he going to understand it? These people I'm talking to, are they going to understand what I am talking about? Right? It's very, very important. So structuring your email logically using paragraphs, spacing, so that it's clear to the person. There's no misinformation in any part. Now, the last thing on the point for emails is avoid misunderstanding by being explicit and using the appropriate tone. Right? Especially when we're working with organizations. Especially when we're working with organizations, it is very important for official emails that you check the tone. There's something we call formal letter and informal letters. When you're sending an email, most times it is formal. Be mindful of the way you communicate, the words you use when communicating with organizations. It's very, very, the words you use can change the whole context or the whole information you're trying to send out. Right? So you need to be very mindful about it. Be clear on the message you are passing. Understand that message and be clear on the words you're using. Be sure that they are passing the exact message, not something that is close to it, but the exact message that you are actually the message that you're trying to convey to your receiver, right? The next form of communication we'll be looking at is the phone. We all have our mobile phones. Like every one of us, we make calls in a day. We have the WhatsApp, different mediums we use to make calls. Now, these points are very important in communicating, because even in your organizations, some every time it's not going to be emails, it's not going to be meeting, it's not going to be memos for meeting or notices of meeting. No, sometimes it will be over the phone, and it's essential that we know how to communicate. Even when, for those of us that will be freelancers, not just working for organizations, like freelancers. Now, the first thing is to pay attention to your tone of voice as it conveys your attitude. Right? I don't know if you've ever wanted to answer a call from, if there's anybody that this happens to, you want to answer a call from some people, and the next thing you are doing is you are standing up. Probably you are lying down on the bed and you have to stand up straight, and you just sit down. You're like, good morning, sir. Good morning, ma. Good morning. This is the person, right? It happens. Basira is laughing. It happens to all of us, because this thing is inherent. We understand that that moment when you're lying down, imagine you're lying down, you're going to your boss, good morning, sir, with one bedroom voice or something of that nature, and you're talking like you're talking to your brother. That tone originally tells the person that this person is not serious for business, right? So a very big part of communication is your tone. The funny thing is, it doesn't just put into verbal communication, even in writing. But we're going to go, maybe if we have the time, go into that another day, right? Even the way in which we write, as I just said about your email, your tone is very, very, very important. It conveys how you, in that little, maybe 2-line conversation, someone greets you, how are you? I am fine. You understand? Let me say, for example, you pick up a call, good morning, am I on to Mr. Ferdinand? And you're like, yes, this is Mr. Ferdinand. Please, who am I speaking with? Right? Please, who am I speaking with? Imagine you pick up a call and the next thing you're like, am I on to Mr. Ferdinand? And you're like, who am I talking to? Are those two responses the same? Can you see the difference in the way I responded, the first person and the second? Please, who am I speaking with? You understand? Yes, I am. Are you on to Mr. Ferdinand? And you're like, yes, this is Mr. Ferdinand. Please, who am I speaking with? And then someone just asks you, am I on to Mr. Ferdinand? And you're like, please, who am I talking to? those are these you have conveyed two very different things, very, very different things. And most times we don't know it, but these are reasons why we've lost a whole lot of opportunities. In your normal state, you felt you've communicated well, you did not insult that person, but you see the attitude and the tone in which you used, rising your pitch at some times and putting your voices down. And I said these are in-depth things that we could maybe have when we have in some other time to go deeply into these things. But basically, the tone of your voice is very important when you're speaking on the phone. Another point is practice active listening by summarizing the speaker's points. Now, this is very particular for when we are dealing with, for freelancers, when you're dealing with your customers, when you are, for those of us in organizations, when you're dealing with your bosses, your employees, even those that are beneath you, those that are under you, right? Your down level staff and those that are above you. It's very important that you have a notepad or something where you take notes, because, as I said, we're in a very fast-paced world. A whole lot of information is coming. You can finish a call at this moment and another one is entering. Trust me, if you don't put those things down, you will forget it. You will forget it. It is always, I always have a book that maybe you can go back to and rehash that time, that communication you had, that phone call you had. Now, the last thing is end the call with clear action points. You don't want to end a call with a person and you don't even understand the message. Let me say you are the receiver now. You don't understand the message that has been sent or what has been conveyed to you, or you are conveying a message to somebody, you are the sender, and you don't end in digital marketing, we call it call to actions, right? For example, click on this link to make a purchase, right? Or which other clear action points? For example, you're giving somebody an order. You're a team leader and you're telling you, I need you to do this. And at the end of that call, the receiver does not understand the exact goal that you've given to that person. Then that communication is not effective. That phone call has not carried out the goal for which you made that call. The action points must be clear, such that the person that is receiving there's no room for, I thought it was this. You understand? No, there should not be any room for that. It must be clear. I want you to do this. Please, could you do this? And I need this result at this specific time. That is how it should be. Right. Finally, under communication, reports. Prioritize clarity and conciseness. These are points. Use visuals to enhance understanding. When you're giving your reports, when we start, I remember by the time we start growing, even as a software developer, as whatever field you find yourself, right? For software developers, let me bring, we are doing products that are mostly softwares, right? And they are more visuals. You may want to give a report working with, let me say, a data analyst. It's very important. Your report should have a whole lot of visuals because they catch people's attention more, right? It enhances understanding. Another final thing is focus on providing actionable insights rather than just information. Rather than just giving out a whole lot of information, put up actionable insights, things that people can relate to, things that they can see in their day-to-day, they relate to in their day-to-day activities, right? The last thing under communication we'll be looking at is during presentations, engage your audience with storytelling and visuals. Practice your delivery to maintain confidence. Practice your delivery to maintain confidence, right? There's no need to overemphasize that one. You must practice whatever. You don't want to come up to a stage. Let me say you're giving a presentation, or your team lead, or you want to present a product you've developed, a software you've developed to a probably a venture capitalist, an investor, or the customer, and you've not practiced that morning as you just finished it. You finished it 2 weeks ago, you dumped it, and you woke up that morning that you're supposed to give the presentation. Trust me, you will fall. Like there's something you will not get right there. So practice is very essential. And then finally, the use of body language to reinforce your message. The use of body language. Some of us do this whole of gesticulations. It's better, right? Your body language, when you're communicating, it's not just with your words, you're doing it, you're communicating with your eyes, you're communicating with your
Yes, we can. I can hear you.
but the network ceases at some point in time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, is it the same for everyone?
The network is bad. It's breaking.
Yeah, the network is bad, but I can hear you from this side too.
Okay, I really apologize. I mean, this network issue has been so bad, but right now I just had a little network glitch. It was so visible. Okay, so let's just try to run down through it, right? So the next problem solving or the soft skill we'll be looking at is problem solving and proactivity, right? Being proactive. One thing I'll start by saying is problems are inevitable. Like you wake up in the morning, you go out, you don't prepare for it, you prepare for it, problems would always come. I love to look at them as challenges. That's why I look at challenges because it's just they are things you can actually come over, things you can actually surmount. There's no other word I can think of to use there. There that you can these are problems, as I said, are inevitable. But how you handle these problems defines your success, right? Especially in your organizations, you are dealing with diverse people. In school, we had these opportunities, these experiences. We met with a whole lot of people, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, people coming from diverse cultures, different upbringing. You may even be in the same tribe, but different upbringing. No two human beings we've always had are the same, right? So the fact that you're relating with people means problem must occur, conflict would always occur, right? But the ability for you to appropriately handle these problems now define your success. And a big part of that is proactivity. Now, problems and proactivity goes hand in hand. What do I mean? Proactivity, let me just give a little understanding into it, is anticipating challenges and taking steps to prevent them, right? You are forecasting, let's put it that way. You're thinking of the future. Okay, you want to enter a venture, for example, and you are like, okay, what is needed to start up this business? I need to get, or in fact, let's not even go to business. You want to start up maybe a building project, and you say, okay, so I need cement, I need bags, I need a contractor. You have all those elements. You start envisioning, okay, so what if at this time the project is supposed to take maybe 6 months, and you're saying, what if at this time there is no supply of cement? What is going to happen at that get go? You've not started even the project though, but you're already projecting to see, okay, if this happens, this is what I'm going to do, or this is what I do. What am I going to do? That is proactiveness. Thinking of challenges before they happen and taking steps, not just thinking about them, but taking active steps to prevent them. Right. So problems and proactivity, that's why they move hand in hand, as I said. And some points that to manage problems or challenges and then be proactive is: number one, identify problems early. From the get-go, as I said, identify problems. Identify problems. Pay attention to patterns and trends. With the first speaker spoke about data analysis and how they deal with data. The truth is, primarily, each and every one of us are processing data on a per second counting. You are looking at something, you're processing it in your brain, right? So it is very important that we um pay attention to trends and patterns. It's something you call reading the room. When you come into a place, read, understand the organization, understand that situation, understand everything, and try to forecast. If this happens, what are you going to do? Right? What is your management? What's your problem management strategy that you may want to put into play? Another thing is, don't wait don't wait for issues to escalate. Don't wait for issues to go overboard. Don't wait for issues to become more than you can handle before you now start it. Right? It's more like a problem with procrastination. You see this thing that is going to happen. Your mind has already been giving you these pointers that this is about to happen, but you wait for it till the end. No, that way you can't. When it comes to organizations, it's a problem solving and productivity is a very valuable skill, because those people that have the ability to effectively manage be proactive, like proactive individuals, and have those that have the ability to manage problems or challenges tend to move faster with their career success rates, right? Because these are people that they want to relate to, because they bring solutions essentially, right? Another point is brainstorm creatively. Brainstorming, especially when this, for those of us, or when most of us, I know that at different sections in our career path, our career journey, we're going to be team leads, some of us will be heads of organizations, and and a whole lot of that, right? Brainstorming as a leader, or as the chair, as the lead of a segment, a project, or whatever. Welcome diverse perspective. Don't make, no man is an island, no man is a know-it-all. No. So welcome diverse perspective. A whole lot of people are going to bring their ideas, right? And then you now form a decision on that. And that is, explore multiple solutions before making a decision. And this is still proactiveness. You don't wait till that problem has occurred before you now start saying you want to start preferring the solution. No. Think of that problem before it occurs, and then when you now think of it, you start brainstorming to solve that problem if in eventuality it happens. Right? Finally, take initiative. See, being proactive is taking initiative. Don't wait for instructions, identify opportunities and take action. Right? It's a very, very important skill. Taking initiative. Let me say, growing up, we used to have this. You wake up in the morning. We all had African parents. Imagine you're waking up in the morning and they have to come and tell you you're preparing for school, and you're telling you to come and brush your teeth at maybe when you are in JS3 or SS1. That would be like, nobody tells you, for example, to eat or make a food. You are taking initiative maybe because of hunger, but you apply that into your real organizations, right? There are things that you've looked at and you're like, for example, you're a team lead, or you're a team member, and a meeting, right? No one has told you yet that this is what you're going to need for this meeting, but you know that you are head of a section. Maybe you are the welfare head and you already have funds or something of that nature. Taking proactive measures there will be finding out before even being reached out to by your boss or your top lead or your head manager, right? What is going to be needed, the prices of what will be needed for that welfare. For the welfare, I mean maybe the feeding for that day, or looking at people, making them, what will be needed for that meeting, the prices of water, the prices of everything that will be needed, compiling it in a list such that when your boss reaches out to you, right, it is not late. You've already made all those findings, and then it makes the work even easier for you, right? So that's a practical example for proactiveness, like being proactive, right? And a very, very valuable soft skill, proactive.
Hi, hello. I don't know if you're still there.
Yeah, we are still here.
I think he has network.
Yeah, sorry, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Welcome back.
Okay, thank you. So
Yes,
network,
I can hear you.
the network is so bad. I really apologize. But so far, have we followed thus far? I mean, we're in the fourth skill we're looking at. How far have we followed up to this moment? Are we on the same
Yes,
page?
very well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, before I
Yeah.
was cut off, we're looking at the next soft skill that is essential for us in our career path, right? In our professional career, and even relating with people. Time management. See, um, time in itself is a precious resource. people think that it's there's this we have 24 hours in a day, and these days it's even looking like 24 hours is not even enough to do most of the things for some of us that you want to do. Time in itself is a precious resource. See, it's a very, very, I don't think there's any, I dare say, right, that there is no commodity, there is no resource that is as valuable as time. Time will tell, time will change things. In time, you will know. Time, time management. You see, anybody that is um that has the ability to effectively manage his or her time is will I say has an edge, a competitive edge in the labor market or in life. If you understand time management, or if you understand time and you know how to effectively manage it, right, you've you've solved like 50% of your problems. See, effective time management, right, ensures you accomplish your goals without feeling overwhelmed. I don't. I'm going just going to give. I'm going to try to give an example now. You have been given a task, right? Or as I said earlier on, how many of us here feels that you're doing something and these days 24 hours is not enough for everything you want to do as a human being? Is there anybody here just with your emoji just signed? You feel like almost 24 hours now. If they could extend the days to 62 hours, or in fact 48 hours for a day, it would be okay for you, right? Yes. The truth is 24 hours, give or take, is enough. But what makes you will I say use it well is managing that time. Managing that time. And what does it entail? Prioritizing, not procrastinating, knowing how to track your time, how to block events. In economics, right? There's something we call scale of preference. I know most of us did economics in our GSS, or there's something you call scale of preference, or basically prioritizing. It is important with time management. Prioritize tasks. Focus on important and urgent tasks first, and then delegate or eliminate less critical ones. There is no, how will I put it? There is no way you can do time management effectively without prioritizing, because trust me, there are a whole lot of things that we want to do. There's a whole lot, like if you were to look at every activity that comes to your plate for you to do, it's like more than 100 in a day. But the ability for you to look at what is essential to that time, to that moment, prioritize, okay, this needs urgency. If I don't do this now, I will probably lose this opportunity with this person. For example, you are putting up for a job application and they told you it lasts in 2 weeks. Now, you have an application that you're supposed to put in for, that the time frame is 2 weeks, and you have a Netflix series that just came out. And what most of us will do, or what some people will do, is, you see that film that is going to always be there is what you finish watching first, and then you now go to come and start doing your application. How do you expect now? How do you expect to essentially finish that task? How do you expect to be in the right mind? I mean, it's a no-brainer. That film is always going to be there, right? That application is not always going to be waiting for you. Plus, there are like over 3,000 people or 1,000,000 people applying for that same post, right? At that moment, right now, what is of essentiality to you, or what is more important to you, is that job application, right? Or for example, you're supposed to probably you want to make calls now in an organization. Let's give a practical example. You wake up in the morning and you need to make some calls to family and friends. Family is very, very important, right? But the person is not in a dying case, and you are within the work hours. Let me say you're working remotely, you're within the work hours. Now, would you make a call to a family member that you are sure is not dying, nothing is wrong, is not on the sick bed, it's just a checkup call, and you're supposed to reach out to your team lead or your team member on a feedback of an assignment you were given, right? And this is about making calls now. Obviously, you're supposed to reach out to that person I mean, you're within work hours, you're within the work time, your work framework, right? You reach out to that person first. You don't go reaching out to the family and spending time there, and then you now go back to your work. No. Especially in this our new world of work where we're going to be working remotely for most of us as software developers, you're working remotely. It is very, very essential. You see, as a software developer and in the tech space, time management is an essential soft skill. Because if not, you end up carrying a whole lot of contract, a whole lot of, and you will never do any one. It's not like you are not proficient. It's not like you don't have the ability. It's not as if you don't have the ability, right? But you are not competent. Because a big part of that competence and time management is effectively knowing how to manage your time, being available for each. You cannot, another thing that will help you is understanding what to say no and yes to. I don't know if any, I personally, I love using myself. I had that issue where you want to, you find it hard to say no. They tell you, can you do this? You know you have 12 tasks waiting for you that day. And because you want to please the person, you will still go and say yes. No, now it doesn't make and it's not a as much as you want to help, it is not every help you can render, right? And that's why I said, even in your team, even when you are the lead, right, learn how to delegate. Learn how to delegate. You are in a team, use those people in the team. Use don't even for those of us that God has blessed, and many of, in fact, everyone here, if you're to leave yourself, you want to multitask and do everything. Yes, multitasking is a very good skill, but it will save you. It is more smart work to delegate. Especially when you are leading people that, or you're dealing with people that are proficient. These are their tasks, these are their job. Right? At the end of, let me put it to organization, at the end of that month, even when you're working with teams, the team will take the credit. So why are you taking the bulk of the work, and then you will now limit productivity because you've not been able to manage your time and you don't want to delegate. So a big part of time management is delegation, right? Another thing, as I said, is time blocking. What does time blocking entail? Schedule specific time blocks for different activities to enhance productivity. That's the dictionary meaning now. You want to do, you have, as I said, you have 24 hours in a day. One very good thing you can do is when you wake up in the morning, it helps me a lot, right? I use my phone, the alarm app there, and I just put it out. You could use the alarm, you could use your Google, um what's well, I'm trying to remember the application on Google that helps you with that now. The alarm basically, and I just set up for that whole day. Okay, for 2 hours, maybe in the morning, from 8 o'clock, I have this to do. I first write out the whole activities I think I want to do that day, or I do it the night or very early that morning, preferably that night. Then you write everything down, you prioritize it. Okay, this is very essential, number one. Number two, number three, you need to do some things. You have assignments you need to deliver on. You prioritize them out. And then the next thing is, use your device. Your device is not only for making calls, phones, and watching Netflix. No, use it at this time. For maybe you may, as I said, we're in a fast-paced world, you may tend to forget. Put that alarm. I need to do this at this time. It rings, it wakes you up to that. Section that time. And when you put a section for something, do not under any circumstance bring in another thing to it. Right? I'm not even saying about like watching movies. No, I'm saying you're actually putting two productive things. You need to complete that or two projects. You've given 2 hours for project A from 12 to 2 o'clock. Anything from project B should not come into that project A's time. If not, you will muddle up everything and end up doing nothing. It's going to be a case of jack of all trades, master of none, because you're trying to do this and do that and do this, and you're not going to achieve nothing. That's what you're going to, what you're going to end up doing is you've done 50% of each, and that in itself is not productivity at all. It's not productive. It doesn't work, right? And finally, track your time. As I just said, the whole alarm and everything. Track your time. Track the time. Make use of your Google calendars. Make use of the Google calendars, your alarms. Set up for meetings quite early. Prepare for them, right? And then finally, the final soft skill that we'll be looking at is for today is adaptability, right? Adaptability. I'm sure most of us understand what it means to be adaptable, right? These adaptability is being able to move with the times, right? The only thing that is constant, we've heard this thing so many times, is change. That is the only thing that is constant in life, change. Now, the ability of you to move with that change, especially the positive change in life, is what will keep you at the forefront of your career paths. Let's say, for example, I know we're software developers, right? There's always, you've seen this version 1.0, version 2.0, version 3.0. Or let me even bring it to something that we understand. Imagine the iPhones. You know that the iPhones that you're using, the iPhone 15 Pro or whatever version you're using at this moment now that's come out. This imagine if right now iPhone did not adapt to meet the, in fact iPhone is a very popular one. Well, what was still available is version 5, iPhone 5C. I don't even know if that, if that still exists, right? Or 6. Imagine what you'll not be able to use it to do. Right? Or for example, you're dealing with companies. You're in competition with a company now. Let me put this company before we bring it to ourselves. And both of you are into, two companies are into, let's still use phone. How many of us heard of, we remember, I don't know if many of us met, what's the name of this, Motorola. Do we still remember this phone brand, Motorola? We still remember Nokia, right? Yes, Nokia is still in existence. Motorola is still in, but you don't see Motorola like before. Why? Because they were not able to move with the tide. They were not able to move with the times. You see, change as a person, as an individual, right? What the methods you used last year cannot be what you are using this year. Right now, we are in the age of AI, artificial intelligence. Trust me, if you don't move with this AI, you will be left behind. Most people are scared that AI is taking over their jobs, but except you are not ready to grow, right? Um, I'm just giving an example. AI is supposed to help you enhance your job, right? So you must be able to be adaptable to change. It is the only constant thing, and it is the key to thriving, in any environment you find yourself. Companies change their whole culture. People change. Every year we have New Year resolutions. Most times we've looked at, after we've done a glance into our life, we're like, okay, these things I did is not okay. I want to change. Same way companies, the same way times change. Things that you thought were good before are not really working again. You move with it. If not, you become stagnant, and then you now become obsolete. It's not as if you weren't good, but you are not good for that thing. Imagine, for example, now which activity can we even say has been so okay? Someone that says he's not going to use banks for whatever reason. You're not going to use any bank. You're not using any online. Nobody now does any. Most of our transactions are online, are cashless. Even groundnut sellers, somebody, a friend of mine was just saying, even groundnut sellers these days have POS. So imagine you're running your business and someone comes to come and patronize you, and you say you don't have a POS facility. You're going to be losing a whole lot of customers on a daily basis. Why? Because you've chosen not to grow with the time. You've chosen not to adapt to the present time. So change, adaptability is very essential in your growth. As a software developer, you are using, I am not really, it's not my fault, you're using a program version, right? A new one is coming out. You need to understand immediately, moving to it, because trust me, it's going to make your work easier, it's going to make your work faster, right? You must always, they said there's a saying that goes, the 21st century or the 21st century illiterate is not one that doesn't have any access of information or doesn't know, but it's the person that is not able to unlearn and relearn. right? I'm not sure I got that right. The person that is not able to 21st century illiterate is not someone that doesn't have an access to information, but someone that you don't have the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. You are learning something new. You unlearn the things that you thought you were good and you don't know. With growth comes unlearning, and then you are relearning. You've learned something, but you need to go over it again. You need to go over it again and again. That is all about change. As I said, I'll still keep saying it. We're in a very fast-paced world. What you thought was relevant today, trust me, in the next 6 months can become obsolete because new technologies are coming out, new modes are coming out, and if you're not moving with it, you're going to be left behind, and that is a very, 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 very sad state. So basically, points you can just put up here is embrace change. You can always view change. I love to say the mind of any man is what makes a man's person, right? View change as an growth and development, and not necessarily a problem that something is changing from what it was before. Have that mindset that this is an ability or an opportunity for you to grow, right? And not as a problem. Another thing is learn continuously. You must stay updated with industry trends and acquire new skills. See, there was a time when you having let me say for example, you have a hard skill. Let me go to our hard skills that are even more physical. Like for example, you're a designer, and I mean like you design clothes. There's a time when that was just what was good enough. Or in fact, not often designer, you're often as a software developer. Do you know that the level of, go to YouTube, go to even Instagram, everyone these days now are content creators. No matter the field, no matter the field of learning you are, everyone is a content creator now. And that is like moving with the times. Because if you don't blow your horn at this time, you're good at what you do and you don't blow your horn, you're not going to get any business. That's moving with the time. That is adapting, changing. The last thing is overcoming challenges. Develop resilience and a positive mindset to bounce back from setbacks, right? Setbacks would always happen. But the ability for you to have that positive, as I said, the mind is the man. Your mindset and the ability for you to bounce back from those setbacks is what will help you grow, right? So basically, the truth is mastering soft skills will enhance your personal and professional life. Soft skills are not just only for your organizations, no, but even dealing with people. Trust me, you agree with me that most of these things, that points that we raised, are things you can apply to your daily, every part of your life, and you see yourself growing. And one thing is practice makes perfect. Nobody was born with, some people are natural leaders, some people are natural time managers, right? Some people are natural multitaskers, but the truth is there is no skill that you put your mind to that you cannot learn. See the way you're learning software development, the same way you're learning any hard skill is the same way you can learn soft skills. It's just that it's with soft, it's going to take, even like your hard skills, practice. Practice is what will make perfect. And then incorporating these skills into your daily routine, right? Incorporating your skills, this all these things that has been I've listed out and we've talked about must be put into your daily routine, right? At this juncture, I want to ask if we have any questions thus far. Anybody have any question on any of the points that was raised? Do we have any
I think you
questions? Any
can
questions?
move on. I think you can just move on because we're running out of time already.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So, basically, we've learned, as I said, we've gotten a whole lot of soft skills. We've known about the soft skills. Someone raised up. Okay,
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 my question
Felicia.
is, good evening, everyone. Good evening,
You said?
everyone. I don't think you can hear me.
Yeah, good
Hello?
evening, Felicia. Yeah,
Hello?
yeah, good evening, Felicia. Carry on.
Okay. My question is this. If you were to be in an interview and then somebody tells you that, asks a question like, if you have many things to do at a time, if someone asks you, how do you manage your time to finish up a task at a designated time? Please, what should be the answer? I don't know. I want to be more enlightened, please.
if I get your
Yeah.
question right, you said if someone asks you in an interview, how
Like
do you
time.
delegate your
Yes, time
time to
management. Like, yeah, if you're
finish it?
asked, probably you're looking for a job, and then somebody then in the interview question like, how can you manage your time? Like, what are you supposed to? What's supposed to be the response? What's supposed to be your own response? Like, let's say, for instance, you're in my place now.
Okay, so so first off, right,
Mm,
the thing is
okay.
prioritizing the task. So if you ask me that question, what I'm going to tell you is I would prioritize my tasks or the tasks according to the level of like importance and the urgency to be submitted or to be finished, right? As I said when I talked about scale of preference. Not every task needs to be finished,
Yeah.
project needs to be finished at the same time. But yeah, so you
Okay.
prioritize it according to that level. Right? And that would help you manage your task and
Okay.
be
All
more
right. Thank you
productive.
very much, sir.
Okay, so the next thing we'll be looking at is if you can see Remy's screen is searching for opportunities. We've looked at the hard skills, we looked at the soft skills, and right now, I mean, how do we get these opportunities, these organizations where we would have to work? As is written here, the first thing is opportunities are everywhere, all around you. We just need to put our hands down and search. If you go to Google right now and you say scholarships for your particular field, maybe software development, product development. The first speaker was talking about some scholarships or grants that are available for you that want to learn a course on Udemy, on Coursera. There are free courses there. There are a whole lot, but you need to be able to look for those things, right? When it comes to scholarships, internships, full-time jobs, volunteering, in getting opportunities, right? Modes, or will I say ways of you getting these opportunities, these basic opportunities, one of the very, very, very clear parts, even as especially when you don't have any prior experience, is volunteering. You look at an organization that you want to work into and you tell them, okay, I want to volunteer for you guys. It's mostly, it may be unpaid, right? But in that process of volunteering, you are gaining valuable skills, you're gaining experience, and more times than not, companies tend to retain those that has already volunteered for them because they've been taken through that work culture, the company culture, they are experienced, as it were, right? So that's an entry point for opportunities. um okay, next we just move to where to search for these opportunities. We all know about our LinkedIn. Is everyone here on LinkedIn? Is everyone here on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Just raise up your hand if you're on LinkedIn. Okay, so one thing. Remy, am I permitted to do this? I would want us to share. I want them to share their LinkedIn accounts on the your links to your LinkedIn so that everyone can connect. Link if you are right now you're on the professional part on any professional journey, you don't have a LinkedIn account, even in your CVs. You don't have it. By the time the speaker that will take us on CV, you will see it's very important. Your LinkedIn is like it's a working CV, it's a social CV. So you must make sure that you're on LinkedIn, and not just on LinkedIn, you position it well, right? Um, another opportunity, another place to search is opportunities for Africans. Some job search like myjob.ng, and then job boards on Telegram. There are even groups these days on WhatsApp and then Telegram. But as I said, essentially, the main thing is for us to just look for these opportunities. They are everywhere. Trust me, they are everywhere. Taking up your phone, your device, your laptop, and going online, putting up that search will take you to a whole plethora of opportunities, and then you have to take your time, look through it, and know the ones to apply for and the ones not to apply for, and the ones that suit you, the ones that will not suit you, right? So basically with that, I have come to the end of um
Thank you so much, President. We are grateful. I think we have a few hands up. Are you able to take some questions?
Yes, yes, by all means, by all means. Your questions. Okay, so let's start with Nyada. Favor. Favor, your hand was up. Was it when I asked the question? And then oh, okay. Lucy, Ben, your hand is up. You could unmute your mic. Is it a question? Lucy,
Good evening, sir.
yeah, good evening.
And sir, concerning the last, thank you for the classes. I really enjoyed it. Although I then late. Concerning the searching for opportunities, since there are many scammers online because they're everywhere, internet everywhere, and like physically and like that. So now, how can you face those challenges of not being scammed? You know, there are some people that want to scam you online in so many ways, even with content or anything. So I'm trying to connect with you because I also you try to connect with them since they are in the same field, and at the end of the day, you say that I are being scam or something like that. So I don't know how in this
Okay,
digital like how are we going to like
okay,
overcome this?
okay, okay. That's a very, very valid question. Okay, so I'll start from the most basic thing. First off, no job, no job, right, will tell you to pay any money for you to get any job, especially online. Once you see that it is too good to be true and it is not real, that is where I'm going to start off first, right? Any application that they are telling you, some people will put it on there. So when it deals with all these national and very, very popular organizations, scammers has this we've known to put up they pay this sum of money to get a preference or anything. No, there's nothing like that. It is your skill, it is your proficiency, it is your ability to pass the different stages of the interview that should get you that job. That is one. Now, for as freelancers, like I don't know if any of you know that there are even scams on even the LinkedIn and the stuff. Scams where you are told, if you've not had like, you are told to, let me say, a software developer, and someone meets you and tells you, okay, I'll do this job and you get paid for this. Let me just chat you up. And then you do the job and you deliver and the person doesn't pay you. I hope you know that's a scam and that actually runs. So the thing that I'm going to tell you for that is, especially this for freelancers, it is better that you use apps like Fiverr, Upwork. Yeah, Fiverr, Upwork for now. I know that are most trustworthy because they have escrow facilities. What are escrow facilities now? They facilitate the whole process. The client or the customer pays the money into them and is not delivered until both parties are sure that that work is ready, right? So don't go relating with people outside those platforms, right? Don't go relating with them outside those platforms. As I said, Lucy, first off, do not make any money, pay any money for any job application online. If a job is looking too good to be true, most times than not, it is too good to be true. It is too good to be true. If they are telling you, especially not just even online, you're filling for an application online and okay, and another thing is you're filling for an application online and you're not sure. One very good, that's why you need to belong to communities, right? Put it out. If you're in a community, maybe on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, on Telegram, please try to find out. I'll try to check. I'm not really on any job search on Telegram, right? But in your communities, you send out that information, that location. Has anybody gone here? You use facilities like your Google Map, your Google Maps, right? Has anyone gone here? This is now for where you're applying online and you have to go there physically to report, like on-site jobs, not remote jobs. Has anybody applied there? Does anybody know anything about this place? Because the times are very, very evil, right? And we all know that. And we're talking about scams here. So these are different scams that happen. So one, as I said, first off, if a job offer is looking too good to be true, you know in your whole life it's looking too good to be true, then it is more times than not too good to be true. You make sure you, for freelancers, you use Upwork, you use Fiverr, um, and as I said, for every job you're going to get, every opportunity you're going to get is going to be based on your proficiency. It's going to be based on your skills, your hard skills, your soft skills. Soft skills will come into play when you're doing your interview. That is when they can interface with you, right? But in that process of putting your CV, and I know the next speaker is going to take that the resource person, that very, your CV is very, very essential, right? So I think Remy just sent a job link. I would believe, Remy, that a job is search link, that is the CV loft. Okay, okay, it's for the
Yes,
next
yes,
speaker.
it's one of the groups that they add opportunities for entry levels, even
Yeah.
for
Okay, so that's
experienced people also.
okay. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that. So you can join that group. That is it. Communities are, when the world is a global village now, so you shouldn't just think you are hoarding any opportunity. You see an opportunity and you say, "Hey, I don't want anybody to see it." It is a lie. That opportunity you are seeing, a whole lot of people have seen it too. Right? So it falls down to your CV, the way your proficiency, right, that gives you that job, right, and not necessarily who is the first to see it and all that. I hope that's answered your question. Okay, okay. So thank you so much. Thank you all for having me. Thank you for listening in. I hope it was worth your time and hope you've gotten something. Hope you work on your soft skills, and I wish us the best in our careers. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot from you. Just to quickly add to your last point, right, on identifying fake opportunities online. So anybody that sends you a text or come for an interview, any organization you are getting information from that is inviting you for an interview for anything, just go on Google search, right? Type the name of that organization and add Naira Land. Add Naira Land. Naira Land is a social media platform created by a Nigerian, right? So, but it's a forum that people come to discuss several things. So, if if you if it's a fake advertisement or a fake organization, right, you will see it on Nairaland. People will be talking about it. Do you understand? People will be talking about it, and what people talk, because Nairaland doesn't just allow anyone to join, right? So what people are talking about is at least 80% of the time legit, right? So you can, to an extent, trust that the information you find on Nairaland about that organization is people's actual experience. So if it's negative, please don't go ahead, right? If you find that it's positive, then you can move on, right? So we spent a lot of time. Um, Please, can we all just, thumbs up for our president? He has been very, very explicit in his details as regards to opportunities, um, soft skills. I really like how he went into, examples, especially for proactiveness, right? These soft skills, there are some people, talking from experience, there are some people that, if you put your hard skills, those are the actual things you can do, and the soft skills on a scale, right? If you say 50-50, there are some people that they just have 10% of hard skills and they have 40% of soft skills, and they are going faster in their career than the people that actually can do the work, right? It's not to say you shouldn't be able to do the work, but it's just, drumming in the importance of having soft skills. If you can do the work and you can't even know, you can't communicate how you do the work or what you have done, ah, you'll be selling yourself short. And the people that can communicate, you just see them going faster than you, and we don't want that for you. So please, what's the emoji for clapping or celebrating our president? It's been very helpful. Thank you so much. So we just have 5 minutes to go over CV writing, right? And we'll go straight into like the practical session. I'm going to be sharing from my phone because I know most of us use our phones. So let's go straight into it. So I've opened Google Docs. You open Google Docs from your phone and you tap this plus icon and you choose a template. So once you choose a template, you can see the first set of templates you have is CVs, right? CVs, resumes, and all of that. So you can decide to choose anyone, right? But if you're applying to um, international organizations or big organizations, right? They use something they call application tracking system, ATS, right? So it's a it's it's an artificial or a machine learning platform that helps recruiters, human resource HRs, right, to select the best candidate based on the job requirements, right? So if you're doing that, it's best to use a plain template. Do you understand? So let's just start with a plain and basic templates. I'm going to select the spearmint. So once you select that, a, remember a CV is basically um your it's almost like telling your life story, but this time around your work life story to somebody that has never met you before. Do you get? You want to tell the person, I've seen your job posting and I feel like I qualify for this job. That is why I'm applying. So whatever the job posting is, um, let me just quickly take us to LinkedIn to see a sample of job posting. So if you're on LinkedIn, on the bottom right, you see jobs. So this is where you can come and search for jobs, right? So you can see all different kind of jobs here. You can see a social media manager. So let's look at the um, job description. You see create content, develop content calendar, all of those things, event planning, monitoring metrics. So you can see some of those requirements. If you feel that this is something you can do, there's always like qualifications, right? So you see 3 years in marketing, advertising, a related role, strong written and verbal communication skills, right? Which is what we've gone through. So if you've gone through the job application and you feel like requirements rather, you feel like, oh, I'm able to do this job, then you come to your CV, you write there's your name, right? You don't need all of this address. You just put your email address and put your email. You don't need to put your in Nigeria context. I mean, for example, if the job is available in Lagos, they want to know if you are available in Lagos or not. They want to know if you are available in Lagos or not. So you might just put your address, right? Your name, your name, your phone number, your email address. Those are your basic contact that they will need to get in touch with you. Now, yeah, you can list your skills. You can see that this is a template, so you just need to adjust to your taste. You can see your skills, but in some cases, right, the skills, it depends on the kind of job you do. So if you're a software developer now, the first thing they want to know is the coding languages you can work on or work with, right? So you put the skills session at the first in the first section. So you can now list here, I can do Java, HTML, I can do several skills, right? SQL and all of those things. So you list all of your skills in. Well, you maybe content creation, Canva, um, in short, video editing. Do you understand? And some people even go further to put um, the level at which they are good with these skills. So are they at beginner, intermediate, or advanced level? Right. So those are the three things. Right. So in some other cases, some other people just, so I'm going to duplicate this, copy. Some other people just add, sorry. Some other people just add summary. Some other people just add summary. So this summary is almost like um, two lines, of your professional career. Remember, I said it's almost like you're trying to tell someone your work life story, right? So a summary can look like, a a a content marketing professional, you know. This is where you is a summary. So you can say with maybe 3 years of experience. You get, you now add maybe the industries you've worked on in the let's say in the food and education sectors. Then you list some other of your qualities. You get, so maybe you have great tenacity, you pay great attention to details, you're always focused on the goal, you manage your time, you are results. I don't want to put result oriented, but don't just use keywords for the sake of using keywords. Make sure it's personal to you and you can defend it anywhere, right? Don't put what you cannot defend on your CV, right? So let's go to experience. So experience, we already have our format, the company name, put the location and your job title. So company name, um, BB Wears, location, Abuja, job title, social media manager, the period you worked there. So say from February 2024 to present. Do you understand? Then the key thing you need to pay attention under experience is what you did and achieved there, right? So sometimes you see so many people just say they just describe the job instead of saying what they actually achieved on the job, right? So as you're going, we call this session on the job continues because learning on the job continues. You don't just stop because the program has stopped. You have to keep learning as the day goes by, right? As you progress in your career, right? So one key thing is when you get a job, please can we all mute? Please let's mute. Thank you. When you get a job, it's beyond just doing the job, it's achieving goals on the job and proactively, creatively coming up with solutions and better ways to do the job. Nobody is hired to just fulfill job description, right? You are hired to make something better. You are always hired to make something better or to improve something for better results, right? So you must be able to show that on your CV. So as you go on and you begin to get opportunities, please can we mute? Ibrahim, can you mute, please? Able to. Lukumi, are you there? Can you help us mute Abraham? Ibrahim, please can you mute?
saboda ba sa gane ɓarawo a bisa idan ba za su ga wani wanda za su yi sai ya ce ka samu mota
Bukumi, please, can you help us mute Ibrahim?
da ne ba za ka jira ba ai da safiya ina za gane ba ka san me ba aikin da kana da shi ni za ka ji a gida ai abin da babban abin tsoro wasu ai su ne masu haɗin kai abin da ba mutane ma mamaki kenan haka wurin biran ɗin ne ba arziki ne shi ne ba Allah mai rar ka nuna ai
Hi, sorry everyone. Apologies. I was trying to get Ibrahim to mute. Okay, so we are back to our CV writing. So I was saying that we need to once you get a job, you need to start looking at processes, how to improve things, how to make things better. If it's sales you're working with, how to get more sales. That is what is going to go inside your CV. Nobody is going to the little of description or what a percentage of description you do is very little compared to your achievement. What recruiters are looking for, HR, human resources, the people that hire for companies, what they look at is what were you able to achieve during your time on this job, right? That's what goes into your CV. So you will say, as a customer care representative, I attended to 30 people a day. I ensured that, I created this template to increase the number of people we attend to per day. I escalated things on time. Do you understand? To ensure that, we don't have repeated complaints. Those are some of the things you can add if you're a customer care representative, for example, right? So if you've had more than one um, work experience, you can add the second company and you put that, but you always arrange it um, from the newest or to the oldest place you've worked, or your company. Then you go to the education section, just your school name, the degree you got, the period, and if you have any certifications you can add that also, and any awards you can add that, even if it's um, best graduating student or anything you have, you can impute it in your CV, right? So this is what you submit, right? So let's go back to that job application on LinkedIn, right? If you tap apply here, for example, you will see that it will take you to the job board. So let's see so the requirements: enter your first name, last name, email, phone number. Are you a sport lover? So this is a sports brand. This the social media link and all of that. Then at the top you upload your resume or CV. So this is where you now go ahead to upload your CV, right? So that's the basic CV. For some other jobs, you are required rather to write a cover letter. What a cover letter means is just um, is narrating your motivation for applying for this job. and re-explaining why you are the best fit for this job, right? So that is what a cover letter is. But for entry level, I'm not sure they usually ask. But just in case you're asked to submit a cover letter, right? What you are doing there is to persuade with words why you are the best fit for for that role, right? And why you are passionate about the organization. Do you get what about the job posting that drew your attention and you saw that, oh, this is a great place, I would like to work, right? So that's it. I believe we've spent a lot of time already. So do we have any questions? I think we can wrap up now. Do we have any questions so far? So this will be the end of our sessions. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I know we still owe us the content marketing guide and resource library. We are still working on that, and hopefully you get it this week to be shared on the group. All right. Okay, we have somebody raising hand. Sam. Okay, Fortune. Fortune, you can go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Miss Remy. Okay, I don't really have a question, but the thing is that can the record of this section be shared on the group? I just wanted to ask if you can still revisit it again.
Okay, yes, it will be shared on the group. We'll remind Mr. Bokume about that.
Thank you, ma.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. If we don't have any more questions, I guess we can close the session. Thank you so much. Please keep learning. Um, all the resources we've shared, or we've shared during this call, the links will also be added to that resource library. Um, so please, we are rooting for you for the future, right? We know this is a start. This is a start, and once you started, just keep the momentum. There's something you call momentum, right? If you start a race and stop, if you're going 100 meters, if you start and stop, you won't get to the finish line. You need to continue moving your legs to get to the finish line, right? And it can be, you can be running 100 meters, you can be running 10,000 meters. But one thing you need to do is to keep putting one leg in front of the other. You need to, that's momentum. You're not standing at one point hoping things will happen. You are putting one leg in front of the other rather, and even if you're stuck, ask questions, get help. And I know that in the near future we'll all be flying high with um, greatness. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. I will see you in the future. Bye, everyone. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I think can we turn on our cameras? Let's take let me take a screenshot. Can we turn on our cameras? Let me quickly take a screenshot of everyone. It's just that it's so dark from my end also. Um, hey, so good to see everyone. Let me take a quick screenshot. Ibrahim wrist and Ibrahim, wait, let me take a screenshot. We need more people to show their faces. Oh, where are you? Where are you? Don't hide. Don't hide. Don't be shy.
Hello, ma. Hello, ma. Good evening.
Good evening.
Me, I need to help you to get my certificate of the mental digital marketing. I have already done the complete the missions now, but I don't get the certificate. I don't know how to get it. So I need to help me to get it.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Mohammed, you were disturbing our class when you were not supposed to do so.
That is so funny. Who's that? He was actually disturbing us. You're not listening, Ibrahim.
You say?
You were disturbing our class, and we were trying to,
Yes, I know now. That's my
Sorry, I'm
I
still
don't
taking
know
our
whether you were
screenshots.
organizing a
I'm still taking
protest.
our screenshots. Still trying
You
to.
were just
Everywhere.
busy making some noise,
Ibrahim
disturbing
was
the class.
organizing a protest.
Now you wanted it. Don't worry, chat me on WhatsApp. I'll give you a message. I'll
All
help
right.
you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. You can hide your camera. Let me take another screenshot. Let me just. Ah, it is Felicia. Ah. Okay, so what are we doing? Are we showing our faces? I think, okay, show your faces, everyone again. Please, please. Apologies. I'm taking everything, but I want to be able to post it on social media. That's why I'm trying to get us.
Patience, you're wearing cap this night like this.
Just leave patience alone now. Patience, I
Yes,
can't see your face yet.
I'm in the dark area. Just trying to online.
Where's patience? Daniel, you're not showing your face. Daniel, I can't see
Just
you
a
now.
minute. Just a minute, please. I'm in the dark area.
My
I'm just
phone
trying to.
camera has a problem.
But I can see
Oh
it
my.
now. I can see it
Can
now.
you
Okay.
can you see my face? Oh, Jesus.
No, no, no problem. Okay. Yeah,
I think
great,
this
great.
is good.
Patience, what's happening? Patience, I can't see patience face. Oh.
Oh,
Just come back with your
I'll
cap.
be honest. We're having this campaign.
Please hold on, no, hold on. Just be patient with me. I'm taking everything. I'm looking for the best shots. Where is patience now? Patience has gone again. Is that to get every Daniel, where are you?
I'm here. I'm here.
Patience, I can't see your face.
Um, just a minute. I
Patience, oh
just
yeah,
want.
Daniel. Daniel, you're the one blowing us now.
Please give me a minute. I just need to get closer to the mic.
Daniel, now, where's
My
your
phone camera has a
face?
problem.
Give me a minute. Let me get closer
See,
to
my phone camera has a problem. It is not too clear.
Daniel, Daniel is falling out.
I beg, give me one minute.
Lucy, what's happening? We can't see your face.
Um, that was upright. Sure.
Hmm, no problem. No problem. No problem. I think we are good. I think we are good. Thank you so much, guys. I miss all of you. Please keep moving, keep moving. Bye. Bye 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 bye
Thank you for
bye.
your time.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Yes.
Thank
Bye.
you.